Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. Gold or silver? That is the question for today. I'm going to explain why silver is a better option and has more potential. A lot of people like to diversify in precious metals or in the world of precious metals, and that's perfectly fine. But silver, I'm here to say, has a lot more opportunity to appreciate in price. Now, before we start, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're new because I do post daily videos. Usually post several videos each day. I posted 2 other videos a day, so go check those out as well if you already haven't. So, why gold or why silver? Or more specifically, why silver and not gold? This is an ongoing thing that people battle between, but you have to lay out the facts and look at this realistically. The gold to silver ratio is still 85 to 1. Even though gold is appreciating, silver is appreciating, platinum and palladium, it's green across the board for several reasons, including Iran tensions that's going on right now, as you guys know. And this has been shooting prices higher, so a lot of people are new coming into the markets and into the world of precious metals. But silver is definitely a smarter option. One, silver is extremely undervalued compared to gold. In my last video, I went over an article from this guy saying that silver is definitely the metal to be investing in. If you were going to wanted to invest $100,000, to go with American Eagles because it's bullion, it's simple, it's a great way, and it has more potential to appreciate than gold. And it's a very good point because gold is already around its natural price range. Gold is already appreciated. The ratio is already high for 85 to 1, where it comes out of the ground roughly 8 to 1. That means that silver is extremely undervalued. And that means that the ratio is going to have to normalize back down to lower numbers. And this means that silver is going to appreciate or gold is going to depreciate. And either or, it's smarter to be investing into the one that's appreciating. Now, a lot of people I'm not going to try to bash or shame gold in this because that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is to say why silver is a smarter option. Gold can be beneficial. It's a very great way to store a large amount of wealth into a small area. You can fit $100,000 worth of gold in a shoebox. You cannot do that with silver. So if you are investing extremely large amounts, it can be beneficial. And a lot of times you can use the gold to silver ratio to your advantage to either earn free gold or free silver by exchanging the ratios when it fluctuates back and forth between each other. But that's just a couple of instances. 9 times out of 10, you're smarter going with silver. Now, why is this? Well, because silver is not much more common than gold is. For the ratio to be 85 to 1, that means that silver should be 85 times more likely to come out the ground with gold. The ratio coming out of the ground should be around 85 to 1, right? I mean, why else? Silver is used just as widely in the economy, in the society, in the technological world. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity. So silver is needed just as much, if not more, than gold is. Gold is more of a commodity and silver is more of an asset. So knowing this, knowing that it comes out of the ground roughly 8 to 1, that means that if gold is $1,500 and silver is $90, that would be a ratio of 16. Because 1,500 divided by 16 is 90, or in the $90 range. So, with that said, this shows me 2 things. One, that the ratio was manipulated, and I can actually give you proof. In the 30s, FDR changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. Overnight. This wasn't a natural price, appreciating. No. He single-handedly went in and changed the ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. Now, what he did is use his power to manipulate, to correct the markets or decorrect the markets, because at this point he has said that silver is not worth anywhere near as much as gold is, that silver is basically worthless. But you have to remember, in the 30s, our money was still backed by silver. It wasn't until 1964 that we stopped making constitutional silver. So that is something to think about, because if the ratio was historically, 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold, or 1 part silver equals 1 part gold, if you want to go back in biblical times, 6,000 years ago, in Egyptian times, silver was just as valuable as gold. It was 1 part silver equals 1 part gold. You can exchange a gold coin for a silver coin, vice versa. Then it went from 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold, because they realized that gold was not as common, but not to much of an extent, because silver is extremely hard to find. Actually, miners don't profit off of mining silver because it's so hard to find and because it takes so much manpower. So it's more profitable to mine gold out of the ground. So they've been abandoning silver mines. But back to my point is that if the ratio, or if it's coming out of the ground 8-to-1, and the ratio is 85-to-1, what does that tell you? That silver is extremely undervalued. That means that silver has a higher chance of appreciating over the next several years. And looking at silver's uses, you have to look at its uses. We've been abandoning silver mines. The production of silver has been getting cut back by the hundreds of millions of ounces. Mexico, Peru, Chile, and Australia, the top producers of silver, have been abandoning silver mines. The silver supply is diminishing before our eyes. Now, the supply is diminishing, but we know the demand is going to be booming. I mean, look at it. Look at what's happening right now with silver. A lot of new investors are coming into it. Stock market volatility. Stock markets have been up and down, back and forth, left and right. We also have the dollar index. We have the recession looming. We have the Iran tensions, the Hong Kong protests. We have not only just that, we have the 2020 presidential election. We have the FOMC cutting interest rates, the dollar collapsing beneath our feet. I mean, what else does it take? The silver and gold are safe haven investments. They capitalize off of controversy. But more importantly, silver is more volatile than gold is. Silver fluctuates at higher rates than gold does. So that gives people an even larger margin to make money. So if you are going to invest into silver, my best bet would be watch my previous video and watch how this guy says to spend your first $100,000 in silver. It's going with American Eagles, going with standard bullion, government-backed bullion, and stick to that. After you've hit your margin, after you've already collected, stacked a lot of silver, built a foundation, lowered your dollar per cost average, buying as much silver for as cheap as possible, then you can diversify into gold. Then you can diversify into stocks or mining stocks or cryptocurrency or whatever you want, high premium silver. But build a foundation of a lot of silver at first. And over that time, not only do you gain experience, but you have a backup plan. You have a nice chunk of silver to where even if high premium, even if gold doesn't perform, even if your mining stocks are declining or whatever the case is, you still have your chunk of silver, which could be or will be holding the intrinsic value, because regardless of not what spot price does, silver has intrinsic value. Gold does as well. That's why precious metals in general are smarter than any other asset or investment to purchase or to stack. But more single handedly, silver has more opportunity. I hope that I've gotten that point across, because a lot of people probably would come into the market and want gold. Gold is seen as the royal metal, but silver is not much more common than gold. And honestly, the way that things are going, silver has to start appreciating sooner than later, because this ratio cannot keep up for much longer, especially as industrial demand for silver has been rising, and these industries are actually paying premiums nowadays on silver, which has never happened before. So we are starting to see the early signs, but these markets are speculative and they do move off of emotions nowadays, so you have to be aware of that. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm curious what your ratio from silver to gold is. How much silver do you have compared to gold? You don't have to give me an exact amount, but how much compared to gold? Like, is 2/3 of your stack silver and 1/3 gold? Or like for my ratio is every about 100 ounces I accumulate 1 ounce of gold. So every 100 ounces of silver, I'll throw in an ounce of gold, and that's what works for me. But some people have larger amounts than I do, or smaller amounts of silver than I do, different financial situations, different exit strategies. So it really is depending upon the individual, and sometimes, you might have to adjust, or it might have to normalize back down, or maybe you have to work on some other areas of your stack that you've been lacking or slacking on. So it really does depend on each person, but I am curious, what do you guys think? Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. If you did enjoy this, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, because I do post daily videos. This was Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you guys soon. Peace.